Hi. Did you just hear some music in the background? I did too. I'm Elizabeth, and I'm glad to be here with you today for Children's Chapel. Some of you might have heard that music that just was playing before. It was a favorite song that some kids learned at Vacation Bible Camp a few years ago. And we're going to come back to that song a little bit later because it's one that I'd love to teach you. But first, we're going to begin chapel. So I've lit a candle. You can see it burning right here. And that's something that we do a lot. And it's something that you may want to do too sometimes. Lighting a candle, looking at the candle. It's a great way to quiet your body. And it's something that we can all do to calm ourselves, especially as we get ready to worship or to pray. So let's just take a minute before we get started. Maybe put your hands in your lap. Maybe pull your shoulders up and then put them down a little bit. Take a few deep breaths. You might close your eyes. Okay, I hope you're ready because today is a big day in the church. Today is a holiday in the church that we call Pentecost. The color for Pentecost is red. I'm wearing red. I wonder if you might be wearing red. If we were in church together or when you watch it on the screen, you might see Doit or Ruth Ann wearing red vestments. You might notice red on the altar. Sometimes there's a piece of cloth that we have set out on our altar that shows the color of that Sunday. And this Sunday is red. You might remember it in that circle of the church here. Sometimes when I'm telling you that story or another person is telling that story, when they get to the red block, they say, "Ooh, this is Pentecost. It's hot." Kind of touch that red and pull their finger away. Because a symbol for Pentecost is fire. And a feeling related to Pentecost is the feeling of heat and of warmth. We'll talk some more about that in just a minute. But right now, I kind of want to talk about how we got to Pentecost. We know that the church year starts in Advent because we get ready for Christmas when we celebrate Jesus being born. And then in those weeks after Christmas, we hear the story of Jesus' life that lead up to Holy Week, to Good Friday when Jesus dies, and then to Easter Sunday when Jesus rises. And that's a wonderful holiday, the biggest that we celebrate in our Christian faith. And after Easter, something very interesting happens. The disciples get to know Jesus in a new way. Jesus has died, Jesus is risen, and for some weeks after Easter, we hear stories of Jesus being with the disciples, telling them about himself and about life, and being present with them and teaching them about how faith can look. And then last week, there's a day called the Ascension. And on that day, the disciples saw Jesus go back up to God, away from them, away from life with them, and back to God. And the disciples found themselves again at a time kind of how they felt during Holy Week and as Jesus died, unsure what was happening, kind of feeling like things were dark, like things were uncertain. And then a huge thing came. A huge thing happened. Something amazing. A big wind, bright fire, just a huge change that was felt by animals, it was felt by people, and that is what happened on Pentecost. When that day of Pentecost had come, the disciples were all together, and they were in a place together waiting. And there's a story in Acts that tells what happened. Let me read that to you. When the day of Pentecost had come, the disciples were all together in one place. And suddenly from heaven there came a sound like the rush of violent wind, and it filled the entire house where they were sitting. Divided tongues as of fire appeared among them, and a tongue rested on each of them. All of them were filled with the Holy Spirit and began to speak in other languages as the Spirit gave them ability. So the disciples were together, and then this huge change happened. And it talks about tongues coming down. Those tongues meant tongues of fire, tongues of flame. Do you see that I have a flame right here on my cheek? That was here, painted for me by my daughter Rosalie as a symbol of Pentecost. And we've got this fire here. That flame came down and it brought many languages to people, many languages to talk about God. So on Pentecost, we sometimes call it the birth of the church, because on Pentecost, people, regular people, the disciples, people like you and me, men, women, children, were given the words by God and the gifts by God to go and talk about God and tell the stories of Jesus and tell the stories of church. So we sometimes on Pentecost have birthday celebrations for the church. It was the beginning of the church. And on Pentecost, we also do a lot with flames and with red and with fire to remember this special day. One thought I have about Pentecost is that those flames came down to the people and the gifts of the Holy Spirit came into them. And so, those people, they were kind of like the wick of a candle. The wick of a candle is that inside part of the candle. And then the Holy Spirit flame came and lit a fire on that wick. And that fire from the Holy Spirit was then a part of that candle. You could think of yourself like that. You could think of yourself like a candle with a wick. Kind of like right up here on your head or right here in your heart. One of the gifts that we're given as Christians is that God gives us the Holy Spirit in us. God lights a flame with the Holy Spirit in our hearts. And then we become candles. We become the lights of Christ to walk in the world, to talk about God, and to act with the gifts that God gave to us. So we remember that story of Pentecost by wearing red, by lighting candles, sometimes by making strawberry shortcake or red velvet cake, things that bring red into our life, things that remind us of the Holy Spirit. I hope that you'll do some of those things today, and I hope that more than anything, you'll remember that you have been given a gift by God and by the Holy Spirit. You are the wick that's lit on fire, that can be warm and that can be comforting to other people. There are ways that we learn that the Spirit teaches us to act. We call those the fruits of the Spirit. And they're not fruits like strawberries or cherries or bananas or coconuts. They're ways that we can act towards other people. They are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. That's kind of a big list. It's all ways that I know you act and can act. And they're ways that we're taught to use those gifts of the Holy Spirit in the world. And there's a really fun song that was playing when we started today that can help you remember those ways to act. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I'm going to play a little bit of that song. I also put the link in an email to your parents. So if you want to learn all the words, if you don't already know them, that would be a good way. Or if you already know them, maybe you want to sing along. I'm going to play that song and we can listen just to a little bit of it. See if you can hear those ways that the Holy Spirit comes into us, those ways we can act with the gifts, the fruits of the Spirit.
The fruit of the Spirit's not a coconut. Fruit of the Spirit's not a coconut. If you want to be a coconut, you might as well hear it. You can't be a fruit of the Spirit, because the fruit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and gentleness, and self-control. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and gentleness, and self-control.
So could you hear it started, it said, the fruit of the Spirit's not a coconut. No, the fruit of the Spirit's not a coconut. If you want to be a coconut, you might as well hear it. You can't be a fruit of the Spirit, because the fruit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Let's listen to one more verse. See if you can hear it. It's going to say, the fruit of the Spirit's not a banana. No, the fruit of the Spirit's not a banana. If you want to be a banana, you might as well hear it. You can't be the fruit of the Spirit. And then it will make that list of the gifts that we're given by the Holy Spirit. Here it is.
The fruit of the Spirit's not a banana. The fruit of the Spirit's not a banana. You want to be a banana? You might as well hear it. You can't be a fruit of the Spirit, because the fruit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and gentleness, and self-control.
It's a pretty fun song. At least I really enjoy it. Maybe you will enjoy listening to it too. Hi. You might notice I've moved. I'm in a new place. I picked this wall in my house because it's red for Pentecost. And I moved because I wanted to share something with you. It's that I am moving. My family is moving next month to Virginia. It's a state on the East Coast. And it's a place where there's a seminary, a place where people go to study about God, where people go who may want to become priests themselves. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm very excited about this. It's a way that I think that the Holy Spirit is guiding me, and a place where I think that the gifts that I've been given, the fruits of the Spirit that I've been given, will be best used for what the world needs. And I'm sad. I'm sad because I can't be with you while I do this. I'm sad because my family can't be with you while I do this. I'm sad that we can't say goodbye to you with hugs or with high fives or with just words in person. I would really like that. But I know that this is not goodbye like I'll never be back again. I know that my family will be able to come back and see you again. And I know that Epiphany Parish will always be a very important place to me, to Dave, to Matthew, Rosalie, and Andrew. And the important thing about Epiphany Parish will always be you, the people who we know, the people who we love, the people who taught us and lived with us in the time when we were at Epiphany Parish. So know that I'm saying goodbye now, but that I still will be with you in prayer, and I still will be with you in thought, and you will always have my love and my best wishes, and I cannot wait until we meet again.
Hi, my name is Naomi, and today's craft time is going to look a little bit different. I have an idea and a suggestion that I hope you'll take me up on, and is something we can all do together. As many of you know, the Walker family is moving back to the East Coast, to Virginia, in a few weeks here. And a lot of you know Andrew, Rosalie, Matthew, and their parents Elizabeth and Dave. And we thought it would be nice if we could send them cards and well wishes as they begin this new chapter in their lives. And I want to just share the card that I made for them. You don't need to make it the same at all. This is just an example. But I wrote, "We will miss you" on the front. And then on the inside it says, "Blessings on your new adventures. We love you, Walker family. Love, Naomi, Mateo, and Luca." And you could draw a picture over here on this side, or maybe you want to send a picture of yourself or your family. And we're going to send these to the church, and then I'll gather all of your cards together, put them in a big envelope, and then we're going to send it out to the Walkers once they've moved. So I'm going to leave you with the address so you know where to send it to the church. And then if you can just put "Attention Naomi" at the top, then I'll know to gather those and that those are going to be sent to the Walkers. So I'm going to leave the address for you. I hope it's something that you guys can all do together as we tell our friends, the Walker family, that we love them, we'll miss them, and that we hope to see them soon.